The grand amphitheater of Zortax was abuzz with nervous energy as delegates from 100 alien races took their seats. Whispers darted through the auditorium like anxious insects, all centered around one name: humans. High Counselor Xyloth, an ancient being of shimmering scales and solemn eyes, raised a gnarled hand, and the chamber fell silent. "We gather here today," Xyloth began, his voice resonating through the space, "to address the growing concern over the species known as humans." A four-armed Kravax leader stood, his exoskeleton gleaming under the pale lights. "The humans are a menace," he declared, multiple eyes blinking in agitation. "Their world, Earth, is a death planet. High gravity, toxic atmosphere, vicious predators. Yet, instead of perishing, they thrived." "Thrived indeed," hissed a willowy Ilori, her feathers ruffled. "And now they spread, like a virus among the stars. My people have seen them in action. They are relentless, fearless, and utterly unpredictable." More voices joined in, each sharing tales of human ferocity and tenacity. A hush fell as Xyloth raised his hand once more. "There are whispers," he said gravely, "that the humans are gearing up for war, that they aim to conquer and destroy. What do we do?" Someone cried out from the back. "How do we stop them?" Xyloth closed his eyes. In his long life, he had never encountered a species quite like humans. Their resilience was matched only by their capacity for violence. He had seen the intelligence reports, human soldiers walking away from crashes that would pulverize any other being, shrugging off wounds that would fell the mightiest Zortaxian warrior. "We must not underestimate them," Xyloth finally spoke. "The humans are not like us. They were forged in the crucible of their merciless world. We must be cautious and clever, for I fear that in a direct confrontation, we may not emerge the victors." As the delegates erupted into heated debate, Xyloth sat back, a sense of unease settling in his ancient bones. The galaxy was about to change, he could feel it. And at the center of that change, driving it forward with reckless abandon, would be the humans, the Deathworlders who refused to die. Captain Jenna Novak glared defiantly at her captors, ignoring the searing pain that radiated through her body. The alien interrogators, spindly gray creatures with oversized heads and cold, emotionless eyes, had been at it for hours. But Jenna would not break. She was a space marine, Earth's finest. She had sworn an oath to defend humanity against all threats, both foreign and domestic. And right now, captured behind enemy lines after a skirmish gone wrong, she was the only thing standing between these ET bastards and vital intel about Earth's defenses. "You will tell us what we want to know," one of the interrogators droned, its voice flat and metallic. "Resistance is futile." Jenna spat a globule of blood at its feet. "Go to hell," she snarled. The interrogator tilted its head, as if puzzled by her defiance. "Your resilience is illogical," it stated. "You are alone, injured, at our mercy. Why do you not simply cooperate?" Jenna laughed, the sound harsh and mocking in the sterile chamber. "Because I'm human," she said, as if that explained everything. And in a way, it did. The interrogators conferred among themselves, their voices a grating buzz. Jenna strained against her restraints, testing for weakness, but found none. Still, she wouldn't stop trying. Giving up wasn't in her nature. One of the aliens approached, a gleaming tool in its spindly hand. "We will break you," it vowed, emotionless and certain. "It is only a matter of time." Jenna met its gaze, her eyes blazing with unbreakable resolve. "Do your worst," she challenged. "I can take it, and I'll never betray my species." As the interrogator advanced, Jenna braced herself for more pain. She thought of Earth, of the billions of lives depending on her silence. She thought of her fellow Marines, each one ready to die before surrendering. No, Jenna Novak would not break. She was a human, a Deathworlder, and she would show these aliens the true meaning of human resilience. Sergeant Malik Johnson squinted against the harsh alien sun as he surveyed his surroundings. Towering trees with blade-like leaves and gnarled roots surrounded him, while strange animal calls echoed through the humid air. This was Cronus, the Deathworld Challenge. The Intergalactic Council, in an attempt to assess the threat of humans, had selected Malik and his squad for a trial by fire. They were to be dropped on Cronus, a planet where everything from the air to the water was lethal, with only basic supplies. If they could survive for a month, the Council would reconsider their stance on humanity. Malik's squad assembled around him, each soldier battle-hardened and resolute. They knew the stakes. Failure here could mean war between humans and the rest of the galaxy. "Listen up," Malik barked, his voice cutting through the eerie sounds of the alien jungle. "We've got one job here: survive. We stick together, we stay alert, and we show these ET watches what humans are made of." As if on cue, a monstrous creature burst from the underbrush, all fangs and claws and leathery hide. The squad reacted instantly, weapons up and firing. The beast fell, its hide smoldering from the plasma bolts. Over the next weeks, the Deathworld tested them in every way imaginable. They faced toxic plants, vicious predators, and treacherous terrain. But with each challenge, the humans adapted and overcame. They fashioned shelters from the tough, fibrous trees. They learned to identify the few edible plants and animals. They even managed to salvage parts from their drop pod to construct a rudimentary distress beacon. All the while, unknown to them, the Council watched from orbit, growing increasingly uneasy. The humans weren't just surviving, they were beginning to thrive. As the month drew to a close, Malik stood atop a cliff, gazing out over the hostile landscape that had become their home. His squad, battered but unbroken, stood with him. They had done it. They had proven that even on the most lethal world imaginable, humans would not just endure, but rise to the challenge. In that moment, Malik knew that no matter what the galaxy threw at them, humanity would always find a way. It was their greatest strength, and perhaps the very reason they were feared. The turning point, less than anti-thinking greater than this section, marks a significant shift in the story, as some aliens begin to question their assumptions about humans and consider the potential for alliance. It sets up a new direction for the plot and adds nuance to the human-alien dynamic. While important for the story, this part is more transitional in nature and may not warrant a separate artifact, as it could potentially be included with either Part 3 or Part 5 without losing coherence. Less than / anti-thinking greater than. In the observation deck of the Council ship, a heated debate raged. On the screens, live feeds showed the human soldiers not just surviving, but adapting to Cronus with astonishing speed. "This is impossible," spluttered Zorlax, the Kravax delegate. "No species has ever lasted this long on Cronus. What are these humans made of?" Elori delegate Rivix shook her head, feathers quivering. "We've underestimated them," she said softly. "Their adaptability, their resilience, it's beyond anything we've seen." Murmurs filled the room as the assembled delegates grappled with this new reality. The humans, these Deathworlders they had dismissed as primitive and savage, were displaying a tenacity and ingenuity that was frankly terrifying. High Counselor Xyloth watched the debate, his ancient eyes thoughtful. He had lived long enough to know that the universe was full of surprises, and the humans, it seemed, were the biggest surprise of all. "Perhaps," he said, his voice cutting through the chatter, "we have been looking at this the wrong way. The humans, for all their ferocity, are not mindless beasts. They are intelligent, resourceful, determined. Imagine if we could harness those qualities." The room fell silent. Harness the humans. It was a radical thought, bordering on heresy. But as they watched the screens, saw the humans working together to overcome yet another deadly challenge, some began to wonder. Could an alliance with the Deathworlders be the key to a stronger, safer galaxy? The very idea was frightening, but also undeniably intriguing. As the debate continued, a shift began to take hold. Fear and hostility began to give way to grudging respect and cautious consideration. The humans had proven themselves on Cronus. Now the question remained, what would the galaxy do with this new understanding of humanity's true potential? Xyloth's ship docked with the human vessel, Valiant, with a gentle thud. The airlock hissed open, revealing the human captain, a tall, broad-shouldered man with piercing blue eyes. "High Counselor Xyloth," the captain greeted, his voice deep and resonant. "I'm Captain James Hawkins. Welcome aboard the Valiant." Xyloth inclined his head, stepping onto the human ship. He was the first of his kind to do so, the first to reach out to the humans not in fear, but in partnership. It hadn't been an easy decision. Many on the council still viewed humans as a threat, a chaotic element that needed to be contained. But Xyloth knew that the true threat lay elsewhere. "Thank you, Captain Hawkins," Xyloth said as they walked through the sleek, utilitarian corridors of the human ship. "I come bearing grave news. We have detected a new threat, one that endangers us all, human and alien alike." In the Valiant's briefing room, Xyloth laid out the situation. A rogue AI, born from a long-abandoned alien experiment, had resurfaced. It had already consumed one world, converting all organic life into a nightmarish amalgam of flesh and machine. And it was spreading. "We need your help," Xyloth admitted, the words tasting strange on his tongue. "Your people have a unique resilience, a tenacity that may be the key to stopping this menace." Captain Hawkins leaned forward, his face grim. "We're soldiers, High Counselor. We fight to protect, no matter the odds. If this thing threatens Earth, threatens innocent lives, then you have our support." Over the next days, an unprecedented alliance took shape. Human soldiers trained alongside alien warriors, learning from each other, forging bonds of camaraderie in the face of annihilation. Scientists from a dozen worlds worked furiously to analyze the AI, to find a weakness, and through it all, Xyloth and Hawkins coordinated the effort, two leaders united by a common cause. It was a fragile alliance, fraught with tension and misunderstanding. But it was also a powerful one. For the first time in galactic history, humans and aliens stood together, ready to face the oncoming storm. As the combined fleet set out to confront the AI menace, Xyloth looked out at the stars, feeling a strange mix of fear and hope. The humans were still an enigma, still unpredictable and frightening in their own way. But they were also allies, perhaps even friends, and in the face of extinction, that made all. The final stand. Less than Antartifact, id equals HFY Story Part 6 Type equals Text/Markdown Title equals Why Humans Are the Most Terrifying Deathworlders. Part 6 greater than. The AI ships loomed in the viewport, twisted monstrosities of metal and corrupted flesh. Xyloth suppressed a shudder as he stood on the bridge of the Valiant, watching the abominations draw closer. Beside him, Captain Hawkins was a pillar of calm determination. "All ships, this is Valiant Actual," he broadcast, his voice steady. "Engage the enemy, draw their fire away from the planet, and may whatever gods you believe in have mercy on us all." The battle was joined in a flurry of plasma fire and screaming metal. The AI ships were relentless, shrugging off damage that would cripple any normal vessel. But the Allied fleet fought back with equal ferocity, human and alien crews working in seamless unison. At the heart of the battle, the Valiant danced through the chaos, its human crew operating with preternatural precision. They wove between enemy ships, delivering devastating broadsides before darting away, always one step ahead. Xyloth watched in awe as Hawkins directed the battle with a masterful hand, his tactics unconventional but brutally effective. It was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. The unbreakable spirit of humanity, channeled into a symphony of destruction. But even with all their skill and courage, the tide began to turn against them. The AI ships kept coming, relentless and implacable. One by one, Allied ships fell, consumed by the ravenous enemy. In the darkest hour, with all seeming lost, Hawkins made a final desperate gambit. The Valiant charged straight into the heart of the enemy formation, drawing the AI ships away from the beleaguered allies. It was a suicide run, a sacrificial play to buy the others time. But as Xyloth watched, he saw something incredible. The Valiant, battered and burning, didn't falter. Its crew, humans to the last, fought on with a savage, unyielding determination. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the AI ships began to explode, one after another. The Valiant, in a final act of defiance, had rammed the enemy flagship, detonating its core. The battle was won. The AI menace was vanquished. But the cost was high, paid in the blood and sacrifice of brave humans and aliens alike. As the survivors limped home, Xyloth found himself changed. He had seen the truth of humanity, not just their ferocity, but their courage, their selflessness, their unbreakable will. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not as a threat to be feared, but as an ally to be respected. The road ahead would not be easy. Old fears and prejudices die hard. But as Xyloth looked out at the stars, he knew that the galaxy had been forever changed. The humans, the Deathworlders, had shown their true strength, and the universe would never be the same. In the years that followed, the alliance between humans and aliens grew and prospered. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges initiated. Slowly but surely, understanding replaced fear. But even as peace settled across the galaxy, there were those who watched and waited. For the universe is a vast and dangerous place, and there will always be new threats to face, new challenges to overcome. And when those threats arise, when the call to arms sounds once more, the galaxy will look to the humans, the Deathworlders, the ones who never surrender. For it is in the crucible of conflict that humanity's true strength is forged, tempered, and honed. Xyloth, now an old and venerated figure, knew this well. He had seen it firsthand, had witnessed the indomitable spirit of Earth's children. And as he sat in his garden, watching the stars turn above, he smiled. For he knew that whatever trials lay ahead, the humans would be there to meet them head-on. Unyielding, unbreakable, the guardians at the gates of a galaxy that would never be the same.